Hello, Purple People Eaters! I've been wanting to start a blog or a YouTube or a podcast or something crazy, and I just never know what to write about or what to say, and I have all these things, and I don't know if anybody cares about hearing them or not, but I decided I'm gonna start saying them. I wanna make this as quick as I can. I'm healing. I explanted, so I have these tubes, and I was prescribed oxycodone and Valium, so I'm feeling a little bit more loose and willing to share things. My mom told me that she was actually crying today because she found something online that I wrote circa 2015 after I went through an annulment with my ex. I want to put in a plug that I am married to a compassionate, amazing man named Noah Heffrey. And if I didn't go through all of this stuff, I would never love and admire and be with somebody like him. I'd be stuck doing other things. So now I'm living my best life, and I still go through shiza daily. I think about stuff daily that irritates me. I have lapse of judgment. I'm mean to people, but I just want to share something I wrote. It was my experience, and I'm just gonna go for it. And it's totally vulnerable, and it's something that I wanted to write, and it was so therapeutic at the moment, and I want to encourage people to write about stuff that might make you feel that way. So, life can really take a toll on us, can it? There are a plethora of debates for the past centuries on how we become who we are. Some say it's nurture, some argue nature. I'm no scientist. I have no degree to explain my thought process and validate to you that it has any basis to facts. All I know is I'm 27 years old, remember, circa 2015. I've had my share of outrageous experiences, and I continue somehow to have a smile on my face. It's not easy, and there is no huge secret. I know that no one else does. I do know that my support system, being family, friends, social media, career, etc., has told me that my experiences have been truly outlandish, and that I need to write a book on my mindset and experiences for a few reasons. Man or woman, no one is alone in those twilight zone, shocking, how could anyone do this to another kind of moments. And it is true therapy to understand that this happens more often than we know. What better therapy than to hear that it could be worse? Now, of course, I'm referring to those situations regarding relationships, because what else truly feels like a world-ending, what do I do now kind of moment, besides those moments that I thank God I have not experienced yet. The serious loss I cannot even fathom, and I'm not trying to belittle by saying relationships are end-of-life moments by any means. I know it sounds ridiculous, but everything is relative. I'm here to tell you that you are the only person you need to live this life to its fullest. As cliche as it may be, your happiness starts within you. So let's do this. Let's date way back to my childhood. I grew up with a gorgeous mom. I'm talking gorgeous from the inside that shines so bright even on the outside. I was raised that we do not read the newspaper. We don't turn on the news because negativity attracts negativity, and we want to live a positive lifestyle. I wasn't raised in a home where we debated politics, religion, or any of those other sore topics. I praise my mother and father for this, because this might be reason number one that I keep a smile on my face. The bubble I like to call my fantastical childhood was a bubble of unconditional love, support, compliments, vacations, hard work, studying, and a foundation for greatness. Of course, I saw negative moments. To not fight or argue about anything is completely unrealistic. But to fight and argue about normal, weird human disagreements is to be able to make up and drop it quick. I was taught that to love hard is to be passionate. And to be passionate means when you are angry, you can also become too passionate in that regard. But if 90% of the passion is love and 10% is anger, you're winning. I was taught that a mistake does not define you. Mistakes are moments to grow, learn, get closer, and move on from. I was taught that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and beauty starts from within. To have conversations about people when they're not there, if you're not willing to say it to their face, is a conversation not worth having. My family dinners consisted of conversations about what happened in school for my brother and I, work for my mom and dad, and what is coming up in our future agendas. This was a beautiful thing for where I'm at today, but it made me really naive growing up. I truly believe people did not discuss other people behind their backs negatively because they had the intelligence to hold conversations about other topics. You can imagine the hurt you feel once you hit middle school and realize people will talk about you for any reason possible. But now I appreciate this advice and this upbringing because I can recognize a small-minded individual who I don't want to allow into my life. Who needs to talk about someone's outfit, action, appearance, or life that is none of my business? Sure, we naturally judge or have thoughts when someone differs from what we are used to or how we want to be, but there is no reason to discuss them in a bully sort of manner. My parents had a lot of money growing up. We were what you considered rich. I know this because my nickname in elementary school was Rich Bitch. Yes, I said elementary school. My dad owned a Mercedes for his commute vehicle and a Viper for his toy. My mom had a Cadillac. We had a ginormous house. It may have slipped the town's mind that we also owned a pool that we invited everyone to and supplied food, beverages, and entertainment. Nonetheless, I was so embarrassed for having money that I asked my mom to pick me up down the street from school, and I cried while people made fun of me for having money. I know you're thinking, poor me, right? But as a child who was raised to love unconditionally and accept everyone for who they are, it was disheartening to be shunned for being fortunate due to my parents' hard work and dedication. I was blessed with a few great friends growing up, though, that I'm fortunate enough to still be friends with today, even though I moved. Needless to say, Wisconsin was fun to grow up in, but I'm happy we took the plunge to move to Arizona. But Kelsey and Laura, thank you for being you. I love you guys. I am not one to hide parts of a story or hide my personal experiences, but I will choose to leave out how we got to AZ from this story. This may be part of the experience that has molded me to who I am today, but it's not worth diving into. There might not be enough pages. First off, one major point I'd like to make is we did go from having an abundance of money to recognizing what coupons were. Now don't get me wrong, my dad's Superman, so we never suffered. We just experienced a different lifestyle. Fortunate for me, my dad told me early on every time I was spoiled with gifts, vacations, that those things meant nothing if our family did not have the love that we did, because that was priceless. Prices mean nothing with no one to share them with. So when we lost the abundance of fortunes, I didn't feel a loss because I still had the love of my mom, my dad, and my brother. In Arizona, the word superficial became a reality. I went from a state where I was made fun of for having too much, and then I came to a state where I encountered certain people who would judge you for not having enough or not dressing the right way. This was not everyone in Arizona, but it was the first time I experienced personally people who acted that way. I almost appreciated it though, because I felt I could strive to fit in easier this way. Throughout middle school, I was awkward. I ate a lot of fast food. I guess I ate my feelings being sad from the move. None of the boys liked me. I was the friend that got the luxury to introduce those cute boys to my other cute friends. This brought on another cute moment that showed me family will always have your back. My brother fit in immediately when we moved to Arizona. Good looking high school football stud, just ask him. He will show you the highlight tape. But on that note, if there was a party for him to be at and I was home alone, he would stay home with me and rent movies. Remember Blockbuster? Yeah, we were regulars. What high school football star dedicates his Fridays and or Saturdays to making sure his awkward sister isn't home alone? He sure did. And when I expressed I had crushes on boys who would not give me the time of day and I was going into high school, he took me to the park to practice sports and exercise. He made me stop eating fast food. In turn, I lost 20 pounds. This was such a beautiful summer before freshman year because the boy of my dreams chose me and he became my high school sweetheart for 3.5 years. That leads me to my first actual love story. I will keep these short. Bottom line was he was the most romantic high schooler on the planet. I'll say that with complete confidence. The love that we had was unbreakable and inseparable. We took vacations with each other's families, walked to school together, begged the counselor for classes or lunch together, studied movies, you name it, we were always with each other. Funny to start off my story saying I was the bad in the relationship. I took for granted his sweetness, his unconditional love, his beautiful personality. I got distracted with my first job in high school, met new friends, and wanted to change the way our relationship was. It made him question my feelings, and instead of understanding and having compassion for his feelings and open communication, I broke it off. Something I feared after I did it would happen to me down the line. If only we could butterfly effect and warn our previous selves. Let's get to some lessons in that story. Number 1, don't take sweetness for granted. Number 2, understand that change in actions speak louder than your verbal confirmations that everything is fine. Number 3, appreciate the small things. Number 4, grass will not ever be greener. And number 5, someone being emotional does not make them weak. It means they care about you. There are so many things in life that we are quick to judge in others' actions without reflecting on our own. Instead of having compassion for the way someone is feeling, we are quick to call them crazy or say that they are too emotional. There can be absolutely happy mediums with emotions, but we are allowed moments of intense feelings because feelings are the only things that are hard to control. We can conquer them, and we can make sure that they do not control the rest of our life or shape our personalities in a negative way, but we can't stop feeling. On that note, we can't stop feeling. We also can't start if we never once did. So don't try to get someone who has never been emotional to feel emotions. It is not our jobs to create feelings. So many of us want to feel the way we do, and instead of just waiting for the person who does naturally, because they are out there, they do exist, we continuously insist on playing games, wondering why, beating our own personalities up, trying to figure out why someone does not feel the way we do. I've been told time and time again, be cold, don't care, get over it. Newsflash, it is impossible for me to do the first two. Get over it, sure, but not before I feel my emotions. I will never be cold to a situation. I will never not care about a situation, nor should you. It takes a beautiful person to feel something for others around you, whether this is a relationship, a family member, a coworker, or someone standing on the side of the road with a sign asking for help. If you want to drive yourself crazy, you can do one of these following things. Try to change who you are for someone else, believe what others say about you, make someone feel what you feel, control someone's actions, make assumptions, or don't accept change. Have you read the Twilight Saga, or at least seen it? If you've done either or both and you can rationalize the fact that I live for undeniable, unconditional love, you can know why the story you're about to read had the absolute potential to break me. I went through a life trial of bad choices, crazy experiences, and headed in the absolute wrong direction. I made a choice as I was breaking my family and friendships to get a grip, get a career, and make the best me I could be. I took a job at an amazing company. Thanks to my best friend's mom for forcing us to go to a career fair, I found the absolute perfect job for me to flourish and be amazing. Every time I got to my place of employment, I ignored work drama, worked my tush off, and was the happiest single lady I never imagined I could be. While doing that, I was hunted. At the time, I felt I was swept off my feet, but in hindsight, hunted seems more suitable. A man who was not my type physically, but seemed to be intrigued by me, approached me. He was actually telling me he was interested in my friend who worked at a golf course he attended. I tried to set the two of them up, but turns out she was using him, and he was not that into her. Long story short, he got my number, and we went to a movie, and it was all uphill from there. At this point, I left out an abundance of information and relationships that led me to not introduce this man to my family or friends right away because I was cautious. But everyone he met was a major part of my life, fell head over heels for him the way that I did. It was as if I was 16 again. We talked on the phone till all hours, planned cute, innocent dates, and had deep conversations. Every time he asked me out, he bought me a purple rose. Our first date was staying over 3. Our second and third dates were all set in one day. Daytime was hiking, nighttime was the keg. Apparently, I passed his test thoroughly because the third day was to an extravagant hotel Italian dinner with a gondola ride to follow. That moment, my love blinders were on. At this point, he deserved in my eyes the welcome to the family. He came to my best friend's birthday 3-day weekend, hung out with my best people, and the words "I love you" left our lips. We moved in together 2 months later. He took me to his hometown, he introduced me to his whole family, we proceeded to buy a home together. So cute, right? Both of our first homes. This was October of 2013, just 5 months after our first date. This man was so super special to me, I decided to make our housewarming party also his 30th birthday. Casino theme. I'm talking flapper dress-up party with a roulette table in the backyard and so many decorations you might want to barf. He seemed thrilled. And apparently, up until this point, I thought we were pretty darn good. Sure, we had our fights. Who doesn't? Nothing major. And from like I told you how I grew up, I got over it quickly. That took us to December. Now starting in January, we weren't doing so good. Solely, he did not want to attend things he usually would. This is okay, as I said, people change. But nonetheless, coming to my birthday party in February, secrets were coming. I was so confused. He was private with his phone, he changed his password, but that was just me being paranoid because you know what happened on my 26th birthday? You won't even imagine. I was completely surprised. I thought my mom had planned a girls' getaway because she missed me. As we wake up and we're on our way to our trip, we pull to the airport. I'm so confused. Guess who's standing there? It was my dad and my boyfriend holding bags ready for me to join my boyfriend. Turns out my dad said he was leaving in the morning to buy cars, but really he was helping my man trick me. He actually had a trip to Forks, Washington, planned on my birthday. He had my mom and dad help me pack bags, and there we go. If you did not know, Forks, Washington is where Twilight was written about. He brought all the Twilight movies so we could watch them on the plane. We fly into Seattle, rent a car, and find out he has a cabin right outside Forks in the National Forest for us to stay in. Super beautiful, secluded with a river in the background. Our cabin even had a hot tub on the patio. Super clutch. This man likes surprises. So he pretended that the trip was a gift and there was nothing else coming. Next morning, he said, finally, one more. We have to go somewhere. We drive through town, literally through it because it was only a few miles long. We turn back around and we make our way to the Twilight Tour office. Yay, a Twilight Tour is so cool. We are clearly the only people in the office, but they said that we could not go until other people got there. A photographer got there and he said he was there to take pictures for the website on the off season to get people to come during the season. So we go on this tour and he told me to bring warm gloves and a hat so I would be warm, and if it got cold, he brought them too. Well, let me tell you, it got very cold for sure, but he refused to put his on. We pull in the forest and I told him, hey, if we ever get married, this is where I would do it. Well, we ended up taking out his hat and gloves at that point. All of a sudden, I hear 1,000 Years from the Twilight theme song playing on his phone, and I look at him and I'm wondering what the heck is going on. He gets on one knee and says, you make me the happiest man in the world. Will you let me be your Edward for forever? Will you marry me? Wow, just wow. In that moment, I felt like the happiest girl in the world. Now let me ask you all this. If you get engaged in Forks, Washington on a tour with a planned surprise photographer to capture the moment, would you sleep with your fiance? I think the answer to that is yes, and I want you to know he did not sleep with me. This is the part, ladies and gentlemen, where you see one thing in a picture and you think all this happiness and all this glory, and some people might even get jealous, and you feel these emotions, and the person involved, though, are so conflicting. You feel this person is so deeply madly in love with you that they're the first person to take the plunge and want to spend their life with you, but they don't do the physical action that binds two people together in a non-friendship way. These are the moments we recognize after the big blow happens. So in this moment, I wasn't questioning it. From the time of engagement on, it was slowly a cluster mess of emotion. We lost our baby kitten, we had extra expenses with the house. We had a relative diagnosed with a life-threatening matter. We switched careers, we lost friends, we gained friends. We witnessed family arguments in ways we had not before. We spent more time traveling away from each other than we ever did before. In moments of stress and adversity, we are there for our significant others. We should be the rock that holds each other together. Instead, some people respond to adversity like cowards. They lack communication skills, they want to run away, and they treat the person who loves them unconditionally like trash. I'm guilty of that as well. The problem is the person who loves the other unconditionally ignores the trashy treatment and looks at every fight as a growing moment and finally finding the calm after the storm. While the coward is looking at every non-perfect moment as an end, all be all, and built up resentment. I planned a wedding for 1.5 years with this man. We had arguments that were not that wild, but were deep in emotion, and I gave him outs and I asked to extend or cancel the wedding, and he said, no, let's go through with it, so I did. I had the most beautiful dream wedding in Greer, Arizona a girl could ever imagine, thanks to that for the 40 grand. The scenery, the decorations, the people surrounding us, it was a weekend of magnificence. After our first dance, my husband at the time took the mic and sang, I Want to Grow Old With You, from the Adam Sandler movie, The Wedding Singer. He proceeded to tell me on the honeymoon he spent weeks practicing it in his car. So I guess I was not faking the emotion I felt. I felt we were good, and I would think that was a good assumption since the man I was marrying was intensely taking dance lessons with me and practicing a serenade song in his car by himself. I would not go through those motions ever if it was something I was uncertain about. Flashback, June 5th, 2014, Hawaii, family trip. My ex to my grandma and grandpa, quote, I would be honored to have your date of June 5th next year for a wedding. I think Nikki and I can hold the tradition to be married for as long as you two, over 60 years. Is that okay? Grandma and grandpa, we'd be honored. Well, in this moment, I wrote, thank you for taking my grandma and grandpa's anniversary, their wedding cake topper, my first time down the aisle, my dream Twilight wedding, and my vows to a higher power away from me, like it was all one big joke. That should have never happened. I am terrified, absolutely terrified that people like you exist. I have no judgments for divorces, breakups, annulments, separations, or anything of that nature. Or at least I thought that, because I always thought I would have the perseverance and dedication to get through tough moments because I've seen people who have done it successfully. But for me to say I would never go through it was a judgment, because even though I gave it my all, I am going through that right now. Through the awesome telephone grapevine, I find out that after my husband married me, sang a song to me in front of our closest friends and family and wanted to leave me, he had the nerve to tell people that I'm making things go to court and I'm asking for crazy things. He told our friends and family that it was worse than anyone can imagine being with me, that he'd rather take the heat as a villain so that he could be happy for the rest of his life without me. This man asked to sell the house we worked hard at, and he wanted to get separate apartments. I simply asked if I could keep the house and have some time to refinance in my own name so I don't lose my investment, since he was clearly ready to do so. I thought I was going to be happy for the rest of my life with him, and that is why I married him. So for him to act like what he did was strictly what I wanted, and that it was why he went through with it, makes me want to cry in the corner. He knows what a hopeless romantic I was, or he would not have taken me to Forks to propose. He would not have taken me on a hot air balloon ride for my last birthday. So why go through all that false sweating if you can openly tell your friends and family that we were unbearably unhappy for over a year? People will do things to you, things that you'll never understand. Just writing a story used to bring tears to my eyes. But it makes me happy to say that, because before it made me short of breath, hyperventilate, and so things are looking up. If I do not share the complete, full-on embarrassing story of it all and have friends and family to help me through hard times, I'd be absolutely wrecked. And you will hear stories that are less intense, and then you'll hear stories that are so much more intense that they make me look like a huge baby. But at the end of the day, there are these evil people that exist in the world, and it is our job to not let them turn us evil. The easy way out is to sulk in sadness. Keep asking why. Wonder what they say or think about you. Wonder what you did wrong. Wonder why their family is so cold to you, because they must have known that he was thinking that the whole time, right? They're rationalized with a cold one? No, a warm heart cannot rationalize with a cold one, and vice versa. Why is he willing to understand me? He's not. I'll seem crazy and I'll never understand him. At the end of the day, we don't need to understand each other. I need to understand me, who I am, what makes me happy, and be the best me I can be. He needs to do the same, and we both need to make a conscious effort to never go farther with someone who doesn't have the same emotional capacity as us. That is an intense look to where it was in 2015. If you fast forward, we're going on 4 years coming up in June. And shortly after, I reconnected with Noah Heffrey, and we met on Facebook. But originally, we walked down the aisle together for our best friend's wedding when we were 18 years old. And he got married and he had a baby. He had Ezra, and he went through a divorce shortly before I went through what I went through. And now I have a beautiful bonus daughter. We did suffer a miscarriage. We suffered some major loss. I was drinking heavily at the time, and I said some things that I'll never be able to take back. But he truly is capable of unconditional love, and he forgave me. And then I stopped drinking, and I'm going on 2 years almost sober. And then God blessed me with a rainbow baby Violet, and we have a family of 4, and life is good. So my point is, sometimes you just gotta write it down. You gotta share it. You gotta help another person. And you gotta know that God won't give you anything you can't handle. So just keep going, smile. And you know what? If you're mad at your spouse and they were to pass the next day, if you'd be mad that you spent time being mean to them, stop it. Just stop it. Be nice to them. Get over it. Life is short. Be the best of you can be. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.